What's up, YouTube? Dave here, back in the den and conducting a little experiment. A while back, I did a video on how to supercharge your hang on the back filter. You may recall I came up with this design. Basically, I've got some PVC that I drilled a number of holes in, got a coupling and a cap, and I was able to purchase these sponge filters on Amazon. Came up with this design. Now at first, this was a pretty good design, but I found over time in using these that these tended to clog up faster, and I think it's because the number of holes in the PVC just wasn't enough to keep up with it. And so what would happen is wherever there was a hole, eventually that sponge would clog and it would slow the flow of the filter. So if you weren't cleaning this at least on a weekly basis or twice a week, you would see a significant drop in flow on your filter. So it got me to thinking, and I started doing some digging around, and I went to Jimco's website, and on their website they sell a perforated tube. Now this is perfect because this has several holes throughout the design. I was also able to find a plastic plug to go on the end, which was another one of the issues that I had to overcome with the first design. And in doing my research, I also found a more porous sponge. And the reason I wanted a more porous sponge is because it's going to actually trap the larger pieces of debris, and it's going to allow for more flow through the sponge. So this is a Tetra pond filter replacement sponge. I actually found these on sale at chewy.com. I think they were like $2.50 a piece, which you can't beat that. So I came up with this design. Now the other good thing is this is a slightly larger diameter piping. This is 1 inch versus 3/4 on the original design. So I had to use 1 inch 90 and a 1 inch coupling. Hence the new design. I've been using this in a couple of my tanks now for a few days, and I have to say it's been doing a fantastic job. The other thing that I went back to using was the polyfill inside of my hang on the back filters. I had kind of gotten away from it because it was winding up, pieces were breaking off and winding up trapped in the sponge. So if you look back again at that old video, I showed you where I found the batting, which is basically the same material that they use to make quilts, at a Sew and Supply website. And it's huge. I think it was like a 4-foot roll that's, I forget, several feet, maybe 30, 40 feet of it. So I've been using this probably for well over a year now, and I still have lots of it left. So what I'll do is I'll typically use the sponge from one of my aqua clears to get the size, and I'll cut it out. So far so good. So some of the pros: it's a larger diameter pipe, allows for more flow through the filter. The sponge is more porous. Couple of the cons: the sponge is a lot bigger in diameter, and it takes up more space in the tank. So I'm trying to come up with a way that I can kind of eliminate that, and I'm thinking maybe by using another 90, I'm able to turn the sponge down into the tank as opposed to jetting out into the tank. But I got a video here for you showing the differences and showing you how I made this. So go ahead and take a look at this, and if you think about it, try it in your home aquarium and let me know how it works out for you. All right, so let's see where the rubber meets the road. Okay, so all this sounds well and good, but let's see what it's going to cost you to actually make this filter. All right. Like I said, I went to Jimco and I purchased this perforated piping. Now this came in a 30-inch section. You need approximately 6 inches to make each filter. So this roughly boils down to $1.40 per filter. The end cap cost me 40 cents. The sponge filter, again, like I said, this is a much better filter, pre-filter, because it's much more coarse. It allows for better flow through the sponge. I was able to purchase these for roughly $2.50, $2.60 a piece. So all in, you're less than $4.50 a piece for the filter. The fittings may have cost you another $1 or so, the 90, as well as the coupling, which you can actually buy a length of, what is this, 1 inch or 3/4 inch PVC tubing to make the coupling. So you all in, you're less than $5, $6 a piece to make this filter. Conversely, I did a search on the internet for the API pre-filter, which is basically the general idea behind making this filter. I like API products. They do a great job. I love their sponge filters. I use them in all of my tanks in the fish room. But I just thought it was a little bit pricey to use that particular pre-filter on all of the aqua clears, and now I'm also running a few Title 110s on my aquariums. So back to the subject at hand. When I did a search for the API pre-filters, they were running anywhere from $8 on up to $12 a piece. And the one that's comparable to this size sponge would be closely related to the one that's running above roughly about $12 a piece. So when you factor in the math, you can basically build 2 for 1. Again, when you run as many aquariums as I am, you have to save money where you can. So it was much more cost effective for me to make these pre-filters on my own. So let's take a look at some video footage of this pre-filter as well as the polyfill running my hang on the bag filters and see what kind of job it does for you. So as you guys can tell, there's a significant reduction in amount of particulate matter floating in this aquarium. I should mention that there's a few micro bubbles. That's because of the cascade of water back into the tank from the hang on the back filter. I was in the process of doing a water change, so the water level is a little bit low on this tank. But by and large, you can tell there's not a large amount or volume of particulate matter in the water column. So the other caveat I'd like to add to this is you're going to probably need to clean this pre-filter at least once a week. And if you run the polyfill in your aquarium, which is going to also help significantly reduce that particulate matter in your aquarium, you're going to probably need to replace that every 3 to 4 days. Now if you do this, you can maintain this type of water quality, or water clarity I should say, in your aquarium. This does not negate the need to do water changes and regular maintenance on your tanks, but it's going to maintain that clear, crystal clear appearance of your tanks. So what do you guys think? You think this will work for you? Drop me a line and let me know if you decide to make these filters, how it works out for you. and if you think it's worth it or not. And as always, thanks again for watching. You guys have a nice day.